Last time on the Toast Reviews.
Ooh, that's good. No high fructose corn syrup. Let's see what the rest of the ingredients are. Oh, I see. It's got corn syrup and it's just not high fructose corn syrup. Never mind.
Hello from Millennium TV. This is King Cool. Welcome to the Toast Reviews. For those of you who don't know how this works, I put some in the toaster and I talk about a movie I just seen before my toast is done. And right now we're in the end of Penalty Box month, which is sort of bled well into October. I'm sorry I haven't put this one up yet. I've been busy. But today in the show we have Bridge to Terabithia, which some of you might be confused why that one would be in the penalty box, and I'll explain as the episode progresses. And today in the show we have regular old white bread. Here we go. Okay, Bridge to Terabithia was one of two books I read in school that I actually really enjoyed that made an impact on me. The other one was Hatchet. Bridge to Terabithia is about a little autistic and socially awkward boy who's also very fast. Happens to be outdone by his by a somewhat tomboyish person in his grade, a new girl named Leslie. The kid's name is Jess. I don't know. As an autistic and reasonably fast kid at the time, I think that might have been one of the reasons why I was drawn to it. And you know, they're beset by some bullies and things like this, and I'm at this point really touchy about how bullies are handled in movies these days, because they're so bad most of the time. Where actually in this one of the ones, the only bully character in it that I remembered was a unusually tall female bully who was actually going around and doing things. But because later something happens to her that makes you sort of sympathize. And here's the thing, like, they set this movie in the modern day, or at least it seems like that. But I would swear there's some things about this that don't really work in the modern era. Like, they go out there and they're building stuff and they're highly unsupervised, where I think nowadays you'd be like, man, you're gonna be afraid of getting picked up by some stranger. There's the music teacher who hands out instruments in the class and they all make noise. Now, do they still do that? Like, they did it when I was a kid, but I mean, I'm just like, does that still happen? Or like the music teacher taking a one-person field trip to the Smithsonian with one of the kids. It's like, like unsolicited, not by the school, and just like, well, I was gonna do this, but someone canceled. Do you want to come with? It's like, I don't think this would happen in the modern era. And even like one time they use the term, "that'd be a sight." I've never heard anyone use that in the real world who wasn't like a 50-year-old man or something. You toast up very quickly, don't you? We're gonna keep talking about this. So the reason why I was afraid of this one was because it's about Terabithia is a magical little place that these kids made up, about a little place they have in the middle of the forest where no one seems to ever bother them. But when I pictured it, even in my head as a little kid, I didn't picture, big monsters and, huge CGI things and other stuff. I pictured two kids with cardboard swords and just pretending and saying things to play pretend. I didn't think it became, like, real, like it was a hallucination. And I get it's like, okay, well, in a movie, maybe, the whole playing pretend thing wouldn't really come across. They don't do it as much as I feared. It's inflated in the advertising, as if like they really are going someplace magical, and I think that some people might come off with the impression that they are. But for me, at least, that turned me off utterly up with this adaptation, because I was like, oh god, like that's the reason I didn't want to see it, despite the fact that growing up, this was definitely one of my favorite books. And yeah, I don't remember if in the books his parents are kind of douchebags. I never have anything good to say about him. At one point he loses the keys. And the dad is like, hey, why don't you draw me up some keys? And I'm like, I don't think that was in the book. But furthermore, if it were me in that situation, even at 10, I was pretty witty. So I would just be like, oi, hey, Dad, guess what doesn't help? This. You know? You can berate me some other time, but if you think berating me is going to help find your keys, go ahead and keep doing it. Or, there's another one too where he could have said something. What the hell was it? I don't remember. Oh, crap. But, you know, he'll berate him about stupid stuff. And he'll be like, hey, you know what? How about you guys shut up? There's a building montage when they're building their little tree house, and there's a painting montage. Like, I don't like montages generally in movies, especially when they're supposed to give you like a general impression of something that happened. Usually it'll be like, okay, and we painted this house, and then, this happened. And it doesn't really have to tell you, oh, this was the song that was being sung while we felt this, and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I think this is actually a pretty good adaptation of Bridge to Terabithia. They seem to hit all the points that I remember. I don't like the goofy CGI monsters. I don't like, that sort of flummery. Especially how it was inflated in the advertising. But I mean, I guess they gotta get the Harry Potter crowd or something. So, but yeah, I guess I was a little too fickle. They actually don't even shy away from dealing with the fact that Leslie and her parents are not particularly religious. Now, in this era, I don't think that's as surprising as it is in the late 70s when this book first came out. But they don't sugarcoat that as far as talking about like how hell and things like that, and what these things actually say. And it's like, well, if you don't believe, then this thing's going to happen. So. I don't know. I think I would rather people obviously read it, but as far as in the era, I'm glad that this got made. There's actually two other versions of the movie. I think one in the 80s and one in the 90s. Like TV movies, not big fat movies like this. I think I'm glad this got made in the era where it could get the respect for the source material, as opposed to like, have you guys heard about the Twilight screenplay that almost got passed the first time, where she was half vampire, Bella was half vampire, and she was an FBI agent and a track star, and it was like, and there was going to be like a chase on jet skis with vampires in daylight, and it was ridiculous. Have you heard about this? This is the stuff that Hollywood does, and for us to get like a generally undiluted a movie version of Bridge to Terabithia is pretty good. Okay. So, yeah, maybe that didn't deserve to be in the penalty box after all. So I'm sorry I haven't updated in a little while, but I hope to make an update, to keep updating more frequently later. Okay.